This week on Business Exposed, we have got Barry Wilson. If you want a no-nonsense, cut-to-the-chase approach in any business level, then this is the one to listen to. He has got a real honest approach to business, which is enlightening in the current markets. So like and subscribe, listen in and enjoy. Well, Barry, you know that I know you from the protege community anyway. But you're a character anyway in your own right, but your LinkedIn posts were the ones that they have me absolutely doubled up with laughter because you're so honest and you don't sugarcoat stuff. You tell it like it is. And that's exactly the reason behind this podcast. So do you want to start us off on what your journey's been so far?
For the business point of view, for the beginning?
Yeah, or if even like your schooling, how you know, from the education side.
So you spoke about the protege community. My background's no that different to Paul's, really.
Right.
For the same area, for Pollock. I grew up in a single parent household as well. Although my father was always sort of there in the background. He didn't live with us, you know. He's an alcoholic. But I sort of done school. As soon as I was 16, left. Before that, in fact, I'd done wee odd sort of jobs, you know, get a lawnmower out and cut grass and stuff like that. I had a paper round as well. I tapped my granny 60 quid to buy it. You know, the paper run was like 20 quid wages every week, so tapped my granny 60 quid. I got to keep my first wage.
Right.
Then I paid it back, you know, 20 every week, and then I sold it when I was just started work at 16. I had that for it was maybe 14 or something, and I sold it for 90 quid. Because I'd built the run up to 30 quid a week, so I was doing all right. And it was just a Sunday paper run, so I wasn't out every day.
Every morning, right.
I couldn't be annoyed with that, to be honest. So done that, and then trained to be a chef. So hospitality was my background. Went in a kitchen about a week after my 16th birthday, and I done that to a good level, really. I'd opened restaurants for folk and stuff, worked up to head chef level, so... done quite a bit with that, and then when it was natural progression to move into a pub. In fact, my cousins worked for a guy, Robert Marshall, that had the Loudon Taverns and things like that, the Rangers pubs.
Yeah.
So they worked for him, and he had a place just down the road there in Airdrie that he had opened as a restaurant. It was a pub really, but he'd opened it as a restaurant. It had a few chefs in it, wasn't working. I'd took a bit of time off work. And the opportunity came to go and help him out. So I thought, why not? I went down and I met a guy, David Kerr, that I worked with. And he became a good pal. And we get the opportunity to buy that place. So we basically purchased it. And that's led us on to the sort of pub game. So
what age, if you mind me asking, what age were you about then when you purchased the pub?
What age was I? Mid-20s, maybe.
Okay, so relatively young to...
have that responsibility.
Aye, mid-20s. I think for an early age, I'd never been one to follow. You know, I'd always wanted to lead.
Yeah.
When I got into the sort of hospitality world, being a chef, for me, you start at the bottom, call me chef, but I'd always wanted to work up to head chef. So that... I just had that drive, you know. I wanted to be in charge of my own sort of things.
You had your own goals kind of set already in your mind, didn't you?
I'm very strong-minded. So I just wanted to get to that level, and I got there and I opened places and stuff like that, and ran kitchens for people and stuff. So when it came to moving out to the pubs and actually taking on the lease for the pub, it was natural. Just like, why not? Let's do it. And we took a risk.
And it paid off.
Well, it's not easy, but we're still there. We're still doing it. We've still get to. So
hospitality is a hard graft anyway. I mean, the hours for a start are unsociable. It's one that a lot of people struggle at to maintain it, like over long periods of time because of the unsociable hours and what's expected of you. You know, you're never really off, are you?
No.
You're kind of always on the go at some point, or split shifts or whatever. So it takes its toll after a while. So
we used to start like 10 in the morning and finish at 12 at night. You know, maybe even later sometimes, depending on how busy you were. You know, so your social life took a battering. Relationships took a battering.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
things like that.
Yeah.
All comes at a cost at the end of the
Aye.
day, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think my background is quite similar. Mine's is hospitality as well, and a chef to trade. And I think it's, let's be honest, it's a tough environment to work in. But I think for, to do what we're doing now in other businesses, I know certainly I wouldn't kind of be the character I am just now if it wasn't for working in a kitchen, because it really does toughen you.
Aye.
It really does toughen you up.
Yeah.
You become I went in there as a wee guy. I was the same, 16 years old, just as a wee innocent guy, and probably came out more of a man, because
Yeah.
you need to be you need to be thick skinned to
I
deal
know.
with the kind of characters and the pressure that you're under. And
I've seen Gordon Ramsay.
Aye.
I'd have crumbled.
was that?
Kitchens are very close. Like,
Aye.
I've met some really good lifelong friends
Yep.
through kitchens,
Yeah.
and not just like there's people from all over the world as well.
Yeah.
Different cultures, different people. Like we had guys that couldn't even speak English, and we're talking to them, and like during my lunch break, I used to take this big guy Vidas. For Lithuania, couldn't speak a fucking word of English. We used to tell him that the head chef was called Scooter Boy because there was some tuna fat programme or something like that. It was about a guy with a moped and dressed up in the leathers and all this. It's like a gay advert or something. Scooter Boy, and you're like, "That's Scooter Boy." He's like, yes. I used to take him to the job centre trying to find them cleaning jobs and stuff like that. During my split shift.
Aye.
So you meet so many different people. And
Well, it's a
they're
team.
good.
You have to be a team in a kitchen, don't you? There's not one person
No.
in a
Yeah.
kitchen that runs the whole show. I think if you didn't have that team mentality, it wouldn't work.
Aye, definitely.
Where did the property aspect come into this then?
So when my wife was having my second youngest, my business partner in the pubs, we went through a wee bit of a difficult spell. And in hindsight, we probably shouldn't have done it. But his mum worked for us, and we had to let her go. There was a lot of folk in the pub that were complaining about her and stuff like that. And she's a great woman, man. Absolute one of the best. But we felt that we had to take that decision for the business. And now, what we know now, if we knew then, we probably wouldn't have done it. It was all driven by another member of staff that had an agenda that we didn't know about. And
That must have been a
unfortunately,
really difficult decision. It's a difficult decision letting anybody go, let alone somebody so close.
Yeah.
I fucking sacked my godmother. We bought that pub to keep her in a job, and we sacked her 2 years later. Like, the door is the line.
Yeah.
When you're inside the pub or inside the business, it's different. You're an employee or a member of staff.
Yeah.
When you cross that line, you become your ma or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your
and she was
godmother
my
again.
cousin, my godmother. Do you know what I mean? So it was difficult. My business partner wanted to throw the towel in at that point. He wanted to sort of, I'm sick of this, I'm sick of these people. And I sort of convinced him to stay. I was like, David, look, why you want to pack it in? Forget it, it's your ma. If it was another member of staff, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And at that point, it put us under a bit of pressure because my wife, I think she was pregnant at the time, and we were maybe about a month or two before the rain was due, and he was wanting us to buy him out, and it put massive pressure on us. And my wife was saying at the time, we need something for us because that's a partnership. We need something for us.
Yeah.
And I thought, let's go and look at something, and sort of property was something that I'd always been interested in.
Right.
I never knew about all the things that you could do. I was just thinking, buy a flat or something, rent it out, and maybe try and get another one. That's what I thought. And
Yeah.
I've got a mate who he's got quite a few properties. His father's got a fish and chip shop and stuff, and I keep in touch with him.
Right.
I don't see him, but it's not like we're pals, we go out and stuff like that, but somebody from school that we keep in touch with. And he was just talking, and he was saying about Paul McFadden, and I went, I've seen that guy, and cause his story was similar to mine, and he was for Pollock and things like that, and I'm for Pollock. I thought, how the fuck can you trust the guy for Pollock? like genuinely, that's what I thought. And then the more I looked into it, and it was funny because I was saying to my wife's uncle, and he was saying, there was a wee guy that used to work with us, and he'd loads of properties and that, and he was young and blah, 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 and he was talking about this young boy. And so that's great, aye. And then years later, I found out the guy that he was talking about was actually Paul.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Aye. So, it was Paul. And funny, you know, I'd booked on to Protege, and then, like COVID, I'd booked on 2020 or 2019, December 2019, and my youngest was he was due to be born in that December. I think it was just maybe a week or so before he was due to be born, and COVID hit 2020.
That's right.
So I thought I was being clever and waiting to sort of April, May time to go and sort of Protege, and just sort of March. COVID hit, pubs were shut, 6 hours, done. And I get the opportunity to do it online, like through Zoom. So the first Zoom
Right, okay.
Protege. But you could do that, and then it was like, listen, but you'll still be able to attend an event. I thought,
Yeah.
fuck, why no, man?
Yeah.
So I just done it, and I went to the Jumpstart in January. It's funny because we're talking about business partners and that. One of my business partners, a guy Ian McGill,
Right.
at the Jumpstart in January, sat like two seats away from me,
Yeah.
and I never spoke to him. And I remember Paul was up on the stage and he was chatting and talking and stuff, and I could hear this old guy fucking yapping. I'm like, he's driving me daft, man. I can't hear this guy up here. I'm trying to take notes and stuff, and he's fucking yapping. I'm going, oh my God. And I never spoke to him at the event or anything. And then I done the Protege, and he done it in February, I done it in April. And then about the May time, he'd reached out to me and said, Barry, listen, we're in similar areas. I was in Cardonald at the time. He was in, where was he? He was Crookston. So
Right.
we're only 5 feet each
Yeah.
other. He says, I think we'll be fishing in the same pond. Do you want to maybe team up? And I said, well, let's get a conversation. And we had a chat, and we got on really well. And it turns out that he knew my wife's uncle, because
Right.
they all worked for the same sort of company. They all worked
Right.
for Ludden Construction.
Right.
And Paul actually Ian was one of Paul's first investors.
Right.
You know, there was a story in the Jumpstart book about Paul being in the back of a van reading a book, and the doors fly open.
Yeah.
One of the boys says, oh, Paul's going to be a millionaire and stuff, and the other, he was slagging him, the other guy went on to build a portfolio. That was Ian and his brother.
Right.
You know, his
Wow.
brother took the book off and was joking, and Ian went on to build a wee portfolio with him. So it's
Wow.
mad how it all is connected
It's
and stuff like
connected,
that.
yeah.
I know.
You know?
It is amazing how when you just go to any of these events, right, and then you just start maybe, speak to people, or in that case, don't speak to people, and then you speak to them a wee bit down the line, and then, you can partner up with people. And I mean, even like, say, kind of our stories, me and Lynn just met in a queue
Yeah,
at a
an
networking
SPM.
event. Yeah, Scottish Property, mate. We're just in a queue, and the queue was massive, and we started talking, and then, here we are
Months
just
later.
now. Yeah, exactly.
Out the blue.
Yeah.
Only because you saw a picture of me in a studio.
Exactly. So, as you just say, it is crazy how, but, where it's relevant to business, if you don't get out there and open your mouth, then, if nobody knows what you do, you're never going to do it in yourself or, partner up with anybody. So when you've then attended Protege, and obviously you mentioned kind of there, for anybody that's listening, who's not in property, they probably think the same thing that you just said, and what I thought as well, that property is like you just buy a flat and rent it out, whatever. But there is so many, different aspects and strategies that you can do. So
Yeah.
when you've then attended Protege, what kind of route did you sort of go down?
So, because my background was hospitality, I knew nothing about bits of fucking wood and plaster and stuff
Yep.
like that. So, in my head, I thought I need to joint venture with somebody that's in the sort of trades, like a joiner, a builder of some sort. And it's mad how, when I think back, how everything is so connected.
Joined, yeah.
Like, I had the pub that I had down the road there, right, in Airdrie, was a guy, Brian, that used to come in, and I needed a kitchen for my uncles, and Brian was a tiler. He says, my brother will get you a kitchen. Sent somebody out for Howdens to measure up and stuff like that. So I met Brian, gave him the money for the kitchen, and he got a joiner to come, and it was a guy called Gary McAllister.
Oh my God.
Aye, so Gary McAllister came to my house, and he put the kitchen in for my uncle, and we kept in touch because Gary's a really good guy, man. He's like one of the
he's lovely.
best. He really is. So me and Gary kept in touch, and Gary knew I had pubs, so he was going to be a sort of silent partner in a pub in Coatbridge.
Right.
So he reached out to me and, Barry, can you give me some advice? Can you aye borrow and stuff like that? So when I knew I was getting into property, I phoned Gary McAllister and I says to him, Gary, listen, I'm going to get into property. I've been watching this guy, Paul McFadden. I want to build a wee team. I've got his book. I've been reading it. I've been doing the coursework online, stuff like that. I need to get a builder. Would you be my guy? And he's like, aye. He's like, I was looking at him. I don't know. Do you think he's a bit of a con man? That I says, no, Gary. I says, honestly, my gut's telling me he's all right. My gut's telling me he's brand new. I've been doing my homework. I've asked people that know him. He's sound. It's all right. He'll be good. And he's like, well, why don't we go together? And I was like, I'm already booked in. He's like, change it, but we'll give you a discount if they say we're a couple. Says Gary, I'm not saying we're a couple just to get you a discount, you know. But I didn't realise.
Walking into Protege holding hands.
I didn't realise Gary was already booked on.
Right.
So he was booked on for the February course.
Right.
And that was the one that Ian was on.
Right.
And he never said nothing. Fly cunt, never said a thing. And then it was just every month they put out this is the latest Proteges, and I'm looking, I'm going, fucking Gary McAllister. So I was on the phone, he's like, mate, I didn't want to tell anybody in case I get conned. You know? And it's funny because me and Gary bought a flat together. I sourced one in Corker Hill where I came from, right? And it was like 55 grand or something. We bought it for 40, just under the stamp duty threshold.
Right.
And we spent 11.5 grand or something renovating it, and we sort of took down walls and made it open plan and stuff. Gary done all the work, and then we sold it for like 70 grand. So we made a wee profit, you know, nothing major, but made a wee profit off it. And we just split that, but it allowed me to be able to understand how to price up a refurb, go in and see the process and stuff like that, because that's the things I didn't know. And then while that was in conveyancing, I got an off-market. I started marketing and stuff, and I got an off-market opportunity in co-winning. So I did.
Right.
And we went down. Me and Ian went down and bought that. We paid 10 grand for that.
What?
So we did
my
pay 10
God.
grand. Honestly, ain't I say you can check, man. 10 grand we paid. We sold it for 40. Oh, just under 40, 39.
Wow.
999. And the person, we put it on the market with a guy, Michael Palmer, down in Ayrshire. He's getting fucking can't remember.
Right.
But some estate agency. Doing amazing, bit of character. So we put it in the market with him, but it never sold in the market, never even hit right move. The guy David Smart, do you know David Smart?
Yeah.
David Smart. So
I don't know him, but I've heard of him, I've seen him on.
So David was just getting started in property, and he landed lucky with this sort of investor type lassie who was looking for overseas. It was overseas investors. She had a pool in them, and they were looking for properties that would hit a 10% gross yield at a time.
Right.
Our property hit that.
Right.
So we spoke to David and says, listen, because I was talking to David, they'd phoned me and the two of us get talking and stuff, and we had to offer really good pals. And I said to him, do you want to maybe have a look at this property down in Kilwinning? So we ended up selling it off market. So David got a 2 grand sourcing fee.
Wow.
And what we done is we just took $1 grand off him for the sourcing fee, paid the estate agent because they'd put some boards in it up.
Right.
And then we sold it off market. So that solidified my relationship with David Smart
David,
for that day. And we became really good pals as well. So
Wow.
things are all connected, man.
Yeah,
I
I was
know.
listening to he had an online thing last night about property. I was trying to listen to it while I was at Scotland on my shift.
Right.
I had my phone propped up at my till. I'm like unmuting it between customers.
Yeah.
So I know David. Aye.
Yeah. As you say, it's funny how everything, when you just start to get out there and open your mouth and speak to people, everything becomes connected. And it's the important thing about that is then, as you said earlier on, everybody just becomes your guy. And that's my guy that, when you want a kitchen and just pick up the phone to that guy. And everything just does become so much slicker because you're not wasting time going, who do I get for, who's the best guy? You do all that stuff at the start, but once you've done that, built the relationships and, look after people, you just become, you're the guy to them and they're the guy to you, and everything just becomes...
It's just like what Paul teaches is get your team in order.
Yeah.
You get your team, your power team, then you're halfway there, aren't
I
you?
hate buzzwords. Honestly, I do. Like,
Come on, you got to buy into the whole thing, haven't you?
Yeah.
I know. I take a different approach.
Yeah.
As you probably know with my social media, I take a different approach. The stuff I put out, is sort of the way that I would sit and speak to you, exactly the same, because
Yeah.
you can't put stuff out on social media and then when they meet you, you're a total different person.
Yeah.
So you're better just being
You.
and then you'll attract the people that want to work with you.
Yeah.
And the ones that think, oh, he swears too much, well, fuck off, I'm never going to do any business with you anyway.
I'm not going to work with you anyway.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But back to what you were saying there about having the team and stuff like that. David Smart, he was talking to me a couple of months ago and he nailed it. He's like, I've got a big network, but a small circle. And that's exactly the way I'm as well. You
Yeah.
know, I know
Yeah.
quite a lot of people, but I've
Keep
got
it
a small
tight.
circle. I've got a wee tight circle of
Yeah.
people that I work with and are close with, I can trust. And
Yeah.
it's hard to get into that circle. And if you fuck me, you'll never get back in.
Yeah.
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 Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
Like, I'm very protective of it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I think as you start to grow, a lot of business owners become the same. You're right, you do know a lot of people. You'll go into your contact book and you'll have streams of them, but as you say, the ones that you choose to, form close relationships.
Close relationships, but yeah.
I'm in the exact same boat. I know a lot of people, but we get very few friends.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, and as you say, you start to grow. People come out the woodworks and want to be your pals that you've not spoken to in a very long time.
Aye.
You know, you
Quite
can
lonely
sit and-
business.
I
Oh,
think it's
can
quite
be.
lonely. We were saying that it's quite isolating sometimes because
Aye.
sometimes I think you're frightened to say too much in case you are saying too much.
Yeah.
So you're a wee bit more guarded. You just think, oh, I'll maybe not mention that because you don't want to look stupid or you don't want to look like you've made a huge mistake or whichever.
Yeah.
You know, so I think
Just say it.
you're
Just
just
say
better
it.
saying
I
it.
just say it.
Yeah.
Aye.
I just speak my mind all the time. You get one side to me and that's it. You
Yeah.
know, straight down the line. If you like it, great. If you don't, fuck off.
Aye. and as you said, those ones that think that you're never going to do business with them anyway. And a lot of the times, somebody said to me once, right, it's always stuck with me. Sometimes the best deals that you do are the ones that you don't do.
Aye.
You know,
100%.
because the people that maybe don't buy into you, and then they do end up conducting business with you, become a headache, and then you go, I wish I'd never dealt with them.
I know. Yeah. Mistake.
I've told a few people that, nah, I'm picky about who I work with, so I've probably told more no than yes. But you need to protect what you're doing, and like I work with a set of morals and ethics and stuff like that, and I'll no compromise them for absolutely anybody. It's if you fit into what I'm doing, great. If you don't, then I'm not entertaining
Yeah.
you.
Thing is, I think that's a good position to be in, and it tells you. See, when you can do that, your business is doing well, because a lot of people.
That's where
And,
they go
and listen,
wrong.
let's be honest. In the early days, you need to take every bit of business. Let's be honest here, right? But
Yeah.
when you get to a bit that you can say no, then your business is doing well, because you're becoming. Hold on, I don't need that business. I'll decide if I want that business or not, as opposed to taking bits of shit business
anybody's
for the
money.
sake of getting
Yeah.
a deal on, or a skinny deal, or a bit of grief for a headache, whatever. When you can decide who you want to work with, I think that shows when you've got actually a really, really strong.
I think you want to
business.
go to your bed at night with a clear conscience, that you've got, and you can sleep sound.
I think it's a mindset thing as well, and an age thing.
Yeah.
Definitely an age thing. I'm 40 now, and I think, maybe when I was younger, I'd be totally different. Whereas now,
It's come with
I want to
maturity.
protect my peace.
Yeah,
do
that's
you know
true.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to. You don't want headaches. You don't want headaches, and now. My mindset sort of changed slightly. Not that I had a bad mindset of it, and I've always been quite positive and stuff like that. But I think as you get older, your priorities change. Like now, my priorities are not just like this moment, but for a while, for a long time, it's like my wife, my kids, my family, what I can do for us, and that's where I am. I don't compare myself. Even I hear guys how many deals you done. It's like, fuck off. How many deals you it's like asking what your turnover is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make 5 million, but my net profit's a fiver.
Aye.
Yeah.
Do you know? Go and
I know.
give yourself a rest.
know.
For me, I'd rather have less but more quality in the
Yeah.
stuff that I do than run about like a headless chicken
Yeah.
doing a million fucking deals for you know, £1,000 or £500 a pop.
Yeah.
That's not me. I'm not interested in that. I'm too busy for that nonsense.
Aye. No, I totally agree with you. I think that's where you see, going back to we touched up on earlier on, the social media part. I think a lot of people are running a bit like busy fools because it captures, as I kind of said at the start, more of a naive audience on social media, people who are buying into that. But when you're actually in the trenches, you can see through that. As you're saying, I think quality is much better than quantity.
They feel busy, I know, but like they think because they're running about like that, they're busy, but they're busy fools.
Yeah,
Aye.
they're being
You know?
progressive, but they're kind of fooling themselves a little bit. Yeah.
Aye.
Exactly. I used to see that a lot in my background. Obviously, after I said he was a chef, then I was in the motor trade for a long period of time. And I used to see that a lot of the time in the motor trade because there's guys running about doing deals, right? And they're like skinny wee deals and they're not making any money. And you're like, what is the point of that? Why do you know it's better just doing half the amount of deals and double the profit, and then you're doing half the amount of paperwork, half the amount of calls, half the amount of grief. You're literally doing half the work for double the money. So why would you
And not
be a
giving
wee bit
yourself a
smarter
headache.
about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Aye.
You know, there has to be like it's this is quite clever. This, do you know Ian Briley?
Yeah.
Right. So Ian, I've done like anytime I've got an opportunity to spend some time with Ian, I'll take it because like he's so knowledgeable, really clever. And I always there's never been a time when I've been with him and I've no took loads away.
Yeah.
And he mentioned something ages ago, and it's like it's the quickest way to know. And I've adopted that. Like anytime I get it, and I'm like, how quick can I get to know? If I'm assessing a property deal, or even just a business opportunity, I'm like, right, does this work or does it not work? If I can't get it to yes, and it's a no, quickest way to know, get it away. If you can't get to the no, then it's going to be a yes, so you just fucking do it.
Yeah.
You know, and I've adopted that, and I suppose it's the same with clients, investors, things like that. It's the same with property deals, just pretty much everything. Just adopt that. How quick can you get to know?
Yeah.
You know?
And then move on.
Aye. Because
Yeah.
you
So
just
a
waste
lot
time.
of time wasted.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
I think that is a really good kind of attitude, a really good way to look at it, because you can spend a lot of time, or you see a lot of people try to convince themselves it's a deal, but if it's either a deal or it's not a deal. If it's not a deal, just move on. If it is a deal, it's a deal. You see a lot of people who maybe ones that aren't a deal try to convince themselves it's a deal for trying to get a deal, but if it's not a deal and it doesn't stack up, then just move on.
Aye.
Next.
That's it. There's no shortage of properties. You know, there's no shortage. And then, like, you'll see people lumping on with these sort of things, and they'll change numbers and try to make it work, and then just to get that wee £500.
Yeah.
But for me, like, reputation is so important. It takes forever to build a good reputation and attract the right people. And then
You
once
know what
you've
to do
got
one
it,
thing wrong, and that's it lost.
like, you make one slip up, and before you know it, everybody's against you.
Yeah.
So it's important to protect that.
Yeah.
You know, if you're lacking longevity, I think you see a lot of people talking about success and property or in business in general, and we buy our drink off one sort of company. It's a family-run company, and it's the son that's running it now, but the father was when I first started in the pubs, we didn't have a fucking clue. Honestly, we were clueless. We didn't know what we were doing. We were always chasing money. It's like, fuck, that bill's coming in. We need to try and get that. We're working like dogs, saving every penny to try and pay it, and just every challenge you could imagine we had. And then this guy John had said, "Barry, come on in and see me." And I went away into his office, and he says, "Look, this is how we do it." And he showed us a spreadsheet on his laptop. "I'll give you this hour," sent it out to me, told me, "Run your business like this." I said, "Right, okay." And we went away and we started on the Monday, after he'd showed us. And see if he showed us that, like, fuck, we've never been so well off.
Yeah.
Like, we just didn't know
Where
what
to
we were
make them.
doing.
Yeah.
And he showed us a system that worked. And years later, the son's running the company now, and we were talking to one of the delivery drivers who's worked for him for years, good big guy, and he says, Jerry always says that about you. He says, the one thing about the boys, they know how to keep a pub open. I think longevity in business is success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
if you're going for 10, 15 years, that's success.
Yeah.
You can rock it, and you see it in property. People fly out the traps, and they're busy, or they look busy, and then all of a sudden, wait a minute, crashing down, and they're done, and they're away.
Yeah.
And that, I know for, like, I've been involved for 2020, so 5 years now. I've seen so many people come and go.
Yeah.
So many people come and go, and you're looking at people that have been quite big hitters, or what they're perceived to be big hitters, and then there's other folk who have just stayed consistent, doing their thing,
Quietly in the background,
quietly
not saying anything.
and they're still going.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that for me is more success than
Yeah.
many deals you've done this month, mate.
Aye.
Yeah.
I would
You know?
agree. I think the problem you've got is, and again, I know I keep referring back to the social media thing, but it does have such an influence, right? Is, you know, I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm being realistic. A lot of people are just lazy bastards, right? And they just want the get rich quick scheme, right?
Yeah.
And some people think that property is that. It's absolutely not.
No,
Right.
is it? Fuck, man.
And it's absolutely not. It's 100%. Do you know what I mean? It's 100% a long term game, and it's not even property. Going back to, I say, my previous job in sales backgrounds, right? It's the same people come into sales. End of the day, we're just selling. Everybody's selling, right? Regardless of what job you're in, you're selling yourself for the product, right? And again, back to the motor trade, you see people come in and they would absolutely fly, and then they would just crash and burn. And it's the same thing. You see people coming in because they want that instant gratification, right? You cannot get that without hard graft and playing the long term game, because it isn't just going to happen month on month. You know, that let's be honest, you're not going to be successful month on month, day on day. It is absolute peaks and troughs at every single point in time. Some days you're up the high, some days you're way under the below the line in the absolute gutter. But overall, as you said, if you just turn up every single day and remain consistent, then overall you'll be fine. But you get a lot of people who go in, instant gratification, see the second they come across an objection, oh bang, this isn't for me. It's no some sort of get rich quick scheme. you know, there's none of that out there. There is no cheat code. There is no cheat code to success.
No.
You know, you need to go through absolute hell
Yeah.
to get there.
Definitely, I agree with that. I think it can be challenging. You know, there's always going to be the next problem to deal with.
Yeah.
And I think you just need to be a problem solver. You know, you just need to. I've whenever anything happens, my business partner in the pubs, I've got different business partners for different things, but my business partner in the pubs, David, he's such a panic merchant. Like, we call him Davey, what if? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if like, he'll go on holiday, he'll give his more kiss and say, like, I'll just give a wee kiss in case the plane crashes.
In case the plane blows.
I don't come home and that, right? And like he's constant, you know, he always thinks the worst. And I say to him, David, did anybody die? No, well, who gives a fucking? We'll find a solution, we'll sort it.
Yeah.
I know.
You know?
I think that is a good attitude to have, because I mean, I don't know how you can go through life feeling that way. It must be turmoil, like having that constant fear or constant anxiousness going on in the back of your mind all the time. I couldn't cope.
I know. See, back to when I was in the motor trade, right? The motor trade it's just like property. It's problem after problem. Let's be honest, cars are just mechanical moving objects. They all break regardless of how old or how new they are. That's why we have mechanics in the world, because we know the things will break, right? So you're just dealing with problem after problem, even with some of the best, most reputable brands. You know, and I worked with a guy, and that's what he used to say all the time. See, when he seen somebody panic, right, run a bit panic, he's like, that's what he do, let's just all fucking panic, right? Because if panic and solved all the problems. Do you know what I mean? It's true. You know, especially if you want to be in any kind of business, you've hit the nail on the head. Business owners are just solving problems. That is the job of an entrepreneur, is to just solve problems. And then the bigger the problem we are, generally the bigger the reward financially that comes with it. So you need to be, if you're not good at solving problems, you're probably not cut out for business.
You're allowed to have a wobble.
Yeah.
You know, you're allowed to go, fuck. And then go, right, okay, right, how am I going to deal with this?
Yeah,
You know?
sit quiet for a minute, gather your thoughts, and then go, right, systematically, logically look at something, and then you'll find a fix.
It's always a process of elimination, that.
Yeah.
You just look at everything and, right, can we do that? No, right, okay, can we do that? Aye, maybe. Right, let's explore that and see if that'll work.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Exactly.
the way.
And like you say, if it's not life and death, you know, what's the
more
point
to
of
life.
panicking?
Oh,
You know, you see some of the things that's going on in the world, and you read the news and stuff like that. Like, at the start of the year, one of my friends from school, he get diagnosed. He sort of pains in his kidneys, I think.
Right.
They thought it was kidney stones. Went to the hospital. Went to the doctors. The doctor says, look, Just go home, you'll be fine there, take the tablets.
What, the
he
usual,
kept
you
saying,
mean?
he's like, listen, I don't feel well, I really don't feel well. I'm in an awful lot of pain. They wouldn't send him for a scan because he wasn't 40 yet, he was only 39 at the time. And
Aye, because the
'Cause that's
difference
gonna
of a
make a
year means
difference.
you're not going to die because you've got...
no, when I sent him for a scan, honestly. And eventually his girlfriend said, look, there's something not right with you. Let's go. And she took him down to the hospital. And then they got a call a few days later. Well, his girlfriend got a call saying, look, we're going to need to speak to Stuart. We need the family in. So his mum and him went in, like, with his girlfriend. They says you've got 3 months to live. You've got terminal cancer.
Oh
It's
my God.
it's
Yeah,
everywhere pretty much.
Days before they're saying there's nothing wrong with you.
Aye, they gave him 3 to 6 months to live, and I think if I might be wrong, but maybe yesterday or the day, that's his 6 month mark. He's still gone.
Aye.
Aye, he's been trying all sorts of stuff to get himself better, you know. So, hopefully something works.
Aye.
But he's been very, very positive, and it's wee things like that. Like his daughter was only 2; she was only going to be 3 in February, and you're thinking, fuck, like he's my age, and like he's
How
going to that means
quick
he's never going to
things
see
are-
that Wayne getting married.
I know.
She's not going to like. She said 2 years where it's nothing. It makes you think, you know, there's more to life than just working
Absolutely.
and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about trying to create. Now, you've got to work. I know that.
Yeah.
You know, to build it, and you've got to work. There's sacrifice. Like my wife's away to the caravan. We bought a caravan last year so that we could spend time together. And she's away there. She went away on Monday. She's back tomorrow with the kids. So I've not seen the Waynes for a few days, but come this weekend, I'll be taking them and I'll go away with them and go and spend time. And it's about capturing the moments in time with them, you know, while you can, because they're no kids long, and
Yeah.
Absolutely.
you don't know what's around the corner, man. So you
I
need to
know.
be like, I'm no, although I want to make money and I like to make money and I like to have money because I like to be, I want to say comfortable, but I don't want, like I've always had in my head, see if we need something, we just go and get it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be living a life where, fuck, I can't pay that electricity bill because we need a new washing machine. That's
Yeah.
never been me, you know, I've never been like that. So I think you need to have moments in time with the family, but you also need to have something that can sustain that.
Yeah.
And that's got to be the business, because let's be honest, being employed, you get told what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it's very much nowadays, I think, I mean, a lot of people now who are employed are having to look at being employed again, like having
Yeah.
2 jobs on the go at one time. And that's just
Yeah.
a stress that, again, you can't sustain.
Yeah.
And then not just that, the wife's having to go out to work as well. And
Aye.
they're still just managing to make ends meet. So yeah, I do think you do need to look at, you know, some other ways of making money.
I was sitting yesterday, right, and I was just looking at cash flow in the business for the next 2 months, right, and then I thought,
It's poor.
yeah, well, we're in peak season in the holiday season, so there's a good next 2 months coming up. But I was just looking, right, and I thought to myself, people stay away from business because they kind of generally don't understand that nuts and bolts to the business, right? Then I thought to myself, see, cash flow in a business, that's just the exact same as being employed, in the sense of that when you're in your employment, right, your cash flow is just, this is the
Your
salary
wage.
that gets dumped
Yeah.
into my account, and then your bills that are coming out of the flow of cash. So, and most people are employed, so therefore they manage that process. So you would actually be able to, you know, people probably have more understanding of business than they actually think.
Give themselves
But the
credit
problem
for
with being is the employee cash flow is it's restricted, and you know, let's be honest, you know, the majority of people have been employed at some point in time, right? And when I look back, I think to myself, and I suppose most people I speak to, right, business owners, all say the same thing as you, right? They all say the same thing. They say, we do it because we want to spend time with the kids. We do it because we want to see my daughter getting married. We do it because I want to book my doctor's appointment and don't need to go and ask for permission. I can just do it. I want to go and get a haircut at whatever time. So, but there is definitely something to be said. You've hit the nail on the head. There's definitely something to be said. There is no, you absolutely have to work, right? But you listen to a lot of people and they say, oh, like, you have to work your backside off. You need to be working 7 days a week, 18-hour days. No, you don't. You just need to be working
Smarter.
smarter. You can actually work a small number of hours a day, but very, very smart. And then go and pick your kids up for school, drop them off, and if you're making really good decisions within a limited period of time, there's definitely you can definitely be able to work your backside off and go to the caravan with your kids.
Aye.
Whereas a lot of people say, no, the route to success is you need to work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week.
You do when it
Sometimes you do
requires
have
you to
to.
do that.
Yeah.
Like on Monday there, I was at the house all day, like,
Yeah.
and I came back in the house. Left the office maybe 10 o'clock. I get back in the house 10:30, and then I had to sit with a laptop to 20 to 12 just to get done what I needed to do that
Yeah.
day. And sometimes you do need to do that. You need to graft when you need to graft, and that comes down to the hospitality thing.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a guy, quite a successful businessman, a few months back, who's coming on board as a business partner with myself. And he's got a hospitality background, so we hit it off straight away,
Yeah.
you know, we were talking. And one of the things he said is, when you're in the kitchens, you'll know this yourself, when you're in the kitchens, it's quiet, and then you get hammered,
Yeah.
and you need to just find that next gear, and then you go to that level, and then it quietens down again, and then you might get another run at it, it goes back up, and you need to up the gear again.
Yeah.
And it's that learning that sort of graft, learning like when you have to shift, you need to shift. That sort of transfers into the business world.
Yeah.
You know, where you need to, when there is times when you need to just do things and it's high pressure, and
Yeah.
you need to just keep a cool head and get things done. But you can't do that every day, man. It's nonsense. And remember as well, there's different stages in life. Like just now, if my two young kids were here, one here, and we just had the two older boys, our life would be massively different. Like the way that I approach business would be massively different because your needs are different.
Yeah.
Just now we've got young kids, so you've got to approach it in a certain way where my wife, she still works and stuff. She works for me.
Right.
She does stuff for me when she needs to. But she's not overly overworked. She's not having to, like, when my kids were born, like, we said, look, just don't bother working. Simple as that. Like, just don't bother working. Spend the time with the kids. And she done that, and it's massive, man. The difference was massive, you know, her spending that time with them.
Yeah.
And she didn't realise it at the time because it was tough as fuck for her. I could see it every day, and you feel helpless at times because you're coming home and you want to be able to spend time and help and stuff, but you've got all this other shit going on in a world away that she doesn't know about, and you protect them for it, you don't tell them.
Yeah.
And it's like two separate worlds, do you know? So.
Yeah.
But you're doing that so that she can do this, and then, as I say, at the time she didn't realise it, but I think if she looks back in maybe a few years' time, she'll realise that was a massive impact that I had in my two youngest kids' lives, and she done that. It was her, you know.
At the end of the day, there is no point in having children if you're not going to spend time with them. You know, you see it, and again, I seen that a lot in the motor trade with, you know, director sort of level, right? There's a lot of these guys are on, you know, 6-figure, some of them multiple 6-figure jobs, right? But they're working 7 days a week, right? And they say that their purpose is, oh, I'm doing it for my children, but they never spend time with the children because they're working away all the time. And then you're like, what is the point of having children to... You're not actually bringing it to the table because you're never at home. You're bringing an income in, but you're never actually there. Being present and being in the room and physically being present, mentally being present is much more important than any financial value, but you need the financial value to bring them a decent life.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but if there's a choice between the two, you're better in the room than being away working from home and making money.
It's down to managing your time as well. I
Yeah.
mean, there's nobody saying that we're not stopping you working on your business, but shave off a couple hours, 2 days a week that is quality time with the kids that they're going to remember and cherish and go, Dad was busy. He did earn, you know, to provide for us, but he still made time when he had time. Do you know what I mean?
It's really funny you say that because I'll not name any names, right? However, there's a couple of people that I used to look at and I thought they were the definition of success, but now I realised they're not, because I seen them as the guys who were on the multiple 6 figures, right? You know, like you know, away in London, you know, away staying in hotels, like, you know, like that corporate type lifestyle, right? I thought, wow, man, they're providing for a family. And then see when I look back, and I'm like that to myself, you saw up the time management thing, I'm like, their life's absolutely carnage. There's no boundaries. They've not got the balls, so to speak, to say to the employer, here are my boundaries, right? My contract says I work 40 hours a week, right? So you respect my boundaries, I'll respect yours, right? You know, don't pick up one of the most successful guys that I've ever worked with, right? And I took a lot for this guy. I says to him, I can see something's different here between you and the owner of the company. And he says, aye. He says, you know how? Because see, when I came to speak to the owner of the company for my interview, I told him my boundaries. My boundaries are, do not contact me before 8 o'clock on a Monday, right? I will be in the car commuting back to my home down south, so I don't mind you call me. But see, after 7 o'clock on a Friday, don't call me. Don't call me after 7 o'clock at night. But between those hours, I'll give you absolutely everything. But you need to respect the boundaries in return. So end of the day, I know I'm here for the interview, but it's a two-way street. So I may be right for you, but I need to know that you're also the right employer for me, right? Yeah. And see if my boundaries don't fit yours and my values, right? Well, I'm not the right person for the job. Whereas in a lot of interviews, it's almost the other way about. An interview is actually to make sure it's right for both parties, not just make sure it's all right for one. Then before you know it, you're down that rabbit hole.
Aye, that I suppose. See, when you've got that sort of mindset, you know your own value.
Yes.
And I think that's what it comes down to. Yep. You've got to understand your own value, and you're only worth it somebody's willing to pay you.
It comes down to everything. It comes down to relationships as well. You know, that's why they go sour.
Well, that's the biggest thing. I see a lot of young guys lassies as well, getting involved in business, and they don't understand the value of the relationships. They don't understand that they'll try and fuck you on the first deal for like a couple of grand, and you're so naive. Like a grand, $2,000. It's just tiny wee amount of money in the grand scheme of things, when we could potentially be making hundreds of thousands for the next 10 years.
Exactly, going
you
forward.
know, like that's small-minded. You know,
definitely.
How you were obviously saying about your missus there and the kids. How, as much as you've provided, her and the kids with a good life, how important do you think in business that having a good relationship at home is, the impact that has in your business?
Massive, man, massive. Like it's. I think in this day and age, it's too easy to walk away as well in relationships and stuff like that. Like things aren't plain sailing with me and my wife, like all the time. Like we have our ups and downs, we have our arguments. There is times where it's tough and stuff like that, but you get out of them. It's only in the moment, isn't it, really? Like once things calm down or move on to the next stage, they drift away and stuff like that. But you need to, I know if it's difficult sometimes on a Monday morning, or any fucking morning really, if the wains are up, getting up, got to school, and she's shouting and bawling at them and stuff like that, and they're no listening to her and stuff, and then who's is chaos. I see all these guys, and they're all social media again. It's all bullshit, man. They're all in. I've been up this morning 5 o'clock, and I've read my Bible, and I've fucking done my ice bath and fucking ran 20 mile, and fuck off.
They're all sitting around the breakfast table having a nice calm breakfast before the school run.
It's utter bullshit, man. It really is. I see it and I go, right, okay. I got up this morning, I went for a piss, man. I scraped my eyes open. I had a fight with a wife in the veins, got them out of school, had a shower, and then went to work.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, fuck me, go away. It doesn't. And this is the thing. Everybody believes you need to do that bullshit.
I know.
Everybody believes that you need to get up in the morning and have an ice bath. Fuck off.
But you see,
do you know what I mean? Just get up and go to work.
Exactly.
Make money.
See, the other thing is that if they're not doing it, they feel like they're failing already.
Exactly. So you start your morning
already on a negative.
I've not done my ice bath, and I've not read the fucking Bible, and I've not done this, and I've not. It's like, come on, fuck, like honestly, and I've not read 20 pages. So you start the morning after, as you say, is a failure.
Yes, exactly.
You don't need to do that. Just get up and then get to work, however you get to work. But see, when you're in there, fucking move your ass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Just go and do what you need to do. Yeah. Action the things you need to action. And do you know what? You're allowed a fucking lazy day. See if you want to do fuck all. Do fuck all. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're allowed a day off. But you just can't have that every day. Yeah. Like you were saying earlier, it has to be consistent. Just turn up and do something every day that moves you forward.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
that's just the way I take it. And you can't, like, as much as I'm very, very, like, professional in my business, you can't take it too seriously as well. You can't get caught up in it. It's a separate entity to you. You aren't your business. As much as that people talk about personal brands and stuff, it is what it is. You know, your business is separate to you. You need to understand that you're different, you know, and you can't lose
Well, you've
yourself
got to
in it.
remember you've got a life.
Yeah.
Aye.
Do you know what, your life isn't your business 24/7. You have to remember you've got a wife, you've got 2 children, you've got, you know, special quality time to kind of filter in there. And it's people who forget that end up lonely because they're on their own, because the relationship's broken down.
Yeah.
And it's all gone to rat shit, really. Do you know what I mean? Because they haven't split it properly.
Aye. That is that thing, just as you go back to the, you know, you go back to what is the reason you're doing it? You know, I think people do lose that way. You know, am I doing it because I can just put the video of the ice bath in the Bible, etc., or social media, or am I doing it because I just want to go out, work my arse off the day, right? Come home and provide for my children and my kids, right? And you kind of touched on something earlier on, actually. You know, you said when you have kids and things change. It's also important to note as well, which I think people maybe lose track of, like your goals and your values also change depending you go out throughout life. When I was a single guy, you know, with no kids 10 plus years ago, right, then all as I did want to do was literally from the second I got up, right, you know, work my backside off, go to the gym, train, you know, and just I was happy. I never took an early finish. I worked late every single night. I was happy to do that. See, now I would never ever do that. Like I want to go, you know, today, come here, film this with you guys, this afternoon, go and work my backside off, and see, tonight I want to be sitting at the dinner table with my partner, having dinner, talking about whatever we talk about. I don't want to be working to 10 o'clock tonight. You know, as you said, there was days last night I was lying in bed with a laptop. There is days, we don't want to be that every day.
No.
Yeah.
But
it's just a balance. At the end of the day, it's all a balance. But the one theme that we always hear during our podcast is the importance of that relationship at home. Knowing that you've got somebody that's got your back and that you're striving for something together. Yeah. But, you know, remembering you've got that quality time to filter in.
I think you don't even need to, like, you don't need to even have the same sort of goals. Like,
no.
In your relationship, you don't. You just need to respect each other's. Like, I've got things that I want to do that my wife won't fucking be interested in. Like, but... And she's like, no, that's your thing.
Yeah,
you know, and that's fine. As long as you're
equal.
And you're you could have many smaller goals, but ultimately, like, you've got to have something together. The goal is to be together, isn't it? And to form a life that you're comfortable in and supports your family and stuff like that. And they can change as well, you know, like, I've set goals and stuff like that, but they change. Like your 10-year goals and your 5-year goals, sometimes they change.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like, people get too hung up on them as well. They get too... I think sometimes if you set something that's too massive, like a big, massive, hairy, audacious goal, like sometimes that can put you off as well.
Yeah.
Because if it's no within reach, now everything is within reach, but if it's no directly within reach, you can think, it's so far away, I'm never going to get there. And it can put you the opposite way, you know, it can set you back. Whereas I like to just set myself like small daily wins. Like, they're just
stepping stones, and then you'll ultimately get to the big goal.
I know where I'm going. I don't need to have it written down on a bit of paper to tell me where I'm going. I've known all my life where the fuck I'm going. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I'll get there. When I get there, it'll be fine, and we'll assess it then. But just now, between now and there, I'll just set myself sort of wee, like, do you know what?
Attainable goals.
My goal right now is to get that fucking cottage that we've got sold. Because that's the next thing. Why to get that sold? And then when that money comes into the bank, I'll look at it and say, right, where's that going? I'll set another goal, right? I'm going to go and do this, I'm going to go and do that. We've got other projects now that we're working on, and wee small things. Like the day, first thing this morning, joiners on the phone. With no skirting and with no door standards. The material get dropped off yesterday. One of the labourers took the material up to the house, but he did say to me yesterday, I think this wood is a bit short. So my goal first thing this morning was to get him that fucking wood. That's what he needs to do, but he's
Yeah.
got to do to move on.
Yeah.
So
But last night, that wouldn't have been your goal this morning
Was it?
because you
Fuck
only
no.
found out about
Aye.
it this morning.
my goal was to come
and
here,
that's
that was
the whole
it.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come here, do this. This was it. Right, let's get this done. And then when this is done, I'll go away and then I'll look at, right, okay, this is my list. Right, what needs to be done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
That's a
think-
shining example of how your goals can change,
No,
no matter
it-
how well you plan.
Exactly. I think that's a really good way of putting it, because let's be honest, you go to, well, listen, whether you're employed or whether you go to, I don't know, you've got a mentor or somewhere, right? Let's be honest, they generally talk about the big goal, right? What is the goal? And it's generally like, you know, so you get a vision board and it's generally get like a Lamborghini and a big house, right? But you're right, that is, let's be honest, everybody likes the nice things, right? I don't care what anybody says, right? It's nice to have nice things, right? But, and that's what everybody kind of focuses on. They go, oh, look at my phone every day and it's got the picture of the Lamborghini and the big house, right? But as you just said there, the way to get that is by sorting that issue with the skirting board,
Yeah.
right? 'Cause if you want to
That's
issue
your
with the
first
issue
step.
with a tiny wee issue with the skirting board, you're not going to get that. So it's kind of, you need to actually almost discredit the big goal and, just as you said, focus on all the wee tiny things. And when you do all the wee tiny things, then you end up with the big goal.
The compound.
Yes.
Of course.
You know, the compound. That's the way. You know what you want. You know what you're going
Aye.
to get. You know, but if you do all these wee things, then you know you'll get closer to where you need to be. And
Aye.
Yeah.
I think that's what's important. A lot of people lose sight of that.
Yeah.
As well. And I think if you're totally focused on that Lamborghini, if that's your thing, and you're not there yet, you're beating yourself up every fucking day.
I know.
Yeah.
Whereas you could be gone, do you know what? I've got that skirting board, we've got that, it's a small win. We've done the podcast, that's another one.
Yeah.
We've went to the office, we've ticked off our to-do list
Yes.
for the day, that's another. So before you know it, you're in that role of the mindset
Momentum.
and thing, like, do you know
In the
what,
right-
I'm winning,
Yeah.
you know, and instead of going, fuck, I'm miles away from it,
Yeah.
I'm never
Yeah.
going to get that.
Yeah. I think it's as well, as you said there, for anybody that's listening, right? Because a lot of people, as you said earlier on, do maybe feel like they're failing because they're looking at competition, right? If the Lamborghini is your goal, then it's like I'm the same. The thing is, that is one of mine, right? I love cars. I've always been into my cars. I've always had nice cars, right? I've took a wee step back in my cars now because to try and put the money into the business, right? But that is one of mine. But I don't need to put it in a vision board. I don't need to put it on my phone to remember. I know it's there, right?
Aye.
I know it's there. I don't need it, you know. But listen, I think it's also whatever works for you. We were talking about it in the phone this morning, right?
Yeah.
There's something that might work great for you that doesn't work for me, and then vice versa. That doesn't mean to say I'm doing wrong or you're doing wrong.
No.
But whatever works for you, especially in the property world as well, there's a lot of different strategies. Some may work for you that don't work for me, or some may be because, for example, I'll be honest with you, mine. Sourcing, I think, is a great thing. You can bring a lot of money in very, very quickly. But personally, it's not my thing because I've came from a sales background who you're always chasing, right?
Yep.
For me, I'm trying to do something slightly different. Whereas somebody who's really who's really doing the sourcing, who'll be doing really well, they would say, well, why would you do that? But whatever works for you is great. Whatever works for me is great. But as long as we're both individually doing what works for us, that's all that really matters. There's no point looking at each other and comparing. You know, because there's always somebody 10 steps behind you. There's always somebody 10 steps ahead of you. So who cares what anybody else is doing? As long as you're doing what you want to do.
I'm very much like that. I genuinely don't give a fuck what anybody's doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're doing great, good, brilliant, I'm happy for you. I want to see everybody doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you've done a couple more flips than me, that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't get caught up in it. Like,
It's not the numbers.
that's your thing, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm only concerned about what I'm doing and how I'm progressing and how my business partners are doing.
know.
You know, so...
Taking care of your small circle.
Aye,
Yeah.
aye, and they'll take care of me, and we'll grow and do whatever we're doing. You know, I think a lot of, to be honest with you, I know that like this is probably unheard of as well. Like, a lot of the stuff that I've done with my other business partners, it's been a gentleman's agreement. There's no contract signed. There's like I know it's fucking stupid, and I'm not advising it. Do you know what I mean? But that's the strength of the relationships that
yeah.
I've got with my business partners. It's like built on trust.
Yep.
Like genuinely, if anybody's going to fuck you, then that's on them. That's not on you.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
100% on them. And if you know, I'm loud enough on social media when I want to be. You know, if somebody was to shaft me, I'd be like fucking right on there.
know.
I'd tell everybody. You know, that's the difference. Not a lot of people do.
No,
No,
you're quite
I
right.
thought I agree. It goes back to what we spoke about earlier on. You were talking about your partner. again, we see it all the time. The business relationships are just the exact same as your personal relationships. They're all just built in trust.
Aye.
So why would you treat your business relationship any differently to you would do your relationship in the house, and vice versa? Well, a lot of people go into business relationships with too much of this corporate head on.
That's nonsense, man.
Yeah.
Aye, utter nonsense. So it is. Like, I think it depends on your background as well.
Aye.
Like a lot of it depends on your background. You get a lot of people that will get involved. They've sat beside each other for a week or something. They get involved in business and they don't realise that they're, you look at the protege community just as an example. Now, there's many other communities like that, right? But you look at that as an example. There's a few hundred people involved in it, right? And there's this whole, I think this is utter bullshit. See this? Get yourself round about like-minded people. What a lot of shite that is, right? And I'll explain why. You've got maybe things that like personal development and interest in property. You get things like that are
You've got a
sort of
connection with.
connections,
Yeah.
aye, and you go, do you know what? We all like property, we all like personal development, we all like business and stuff like that. That's fine. But your values, your ethics, your morals are all different.
Yeah.
Just because everybody's got an interest in property or personal development or whatever, doesn't mean we're all the same.
No.
There's gonna be fucking snakes in there as well. There's gonna be people in there that will want to just shaft you. There will be people that are just horrible fucking people. And then there'll be a lot of really, really good people as well. People that are genuine, trustworthy, honest.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that you...
That's the like-minded people that you want to be about.
Yeah.
Aye, that's the thing. You need
But
to
that
be...
takes time.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
of
not
course.
something you're going to develop in a classroom for a week.
No,
Or,
no.
that's built over being in their company and understanding how they think and what their processes are. And
I think if your morals are aligned, if your moral compass is right, and you go into things, and I think communication's important as well. You
100%.
need to be open and honest. You need to, if you're doing something with somebody, you need to communicate from the beginning. Like we've got a property just now that we bought for an SA, and my business partner's he loaned some money out to somebody, and he struggled to get it back. He struggled to get it back. It's a bit late, and he's thought, well, do you know what? We've got this asset. There's quite a chunk of equity in it. He said to me, would you mind selling it? I'm struggling a wee bit. I need to try and recuperate some of the money that I've sort of lost at the moment. And it's like, fuck it. Aye, all right. Like, you're not going to see him struggle. And it's an absolute cunt because it would have been a belter in an SA. The plan for it would have been so good.
right.
But now it's gone in the market. We're going to flip it. But we'll make a big chunk of money because we bought right and we've added enough value, and it's went from there to there in terms of the value. I'll not drop any numbers, but
Good.
you'll see them in the future, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So it's decent. But it's one of the things, it's like, if we didn't have that relationship, we weren't aligned the way we are,
Yeah.
that could have been a total different conversation.
Aye,
Yeah.
a hairy conversation there if you had said
Yeah.
no.
Aye.
Yeah.
And to me, if you're in a partnership, you're in a partnership. If you're a team, then you've got to work together
Yeah.
Yeah.
through the highs and the lows, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would expect him to do the same for me if I was in that position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I know for a fact he would. I know 100% he would. So it was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah. That says a lot about your, the way you run your work.
Character, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
100%. I think. So you.
I was just going to say, anybody that's going into the property game now, what kind of advice would you give them, Barry?
It's an apprenticeship. Take your fucking time, man. Like everybody's in a rush. Everybody wants things now. It's like when I started this in 2020, I said, right, 10-year apprenticeship. 10 year to learn everything I need to learn about it.
Yeah.
And I'm still doing it. I'm still learning. Like, when you think you're an expert, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you're no.
Yeah.
There's so much more you can learn. Like, when I first started, if we're going back to social media, you see guys that have just done courses and they come out and they are the expert, and it's like, oh, blah, blah. And I just think, when I started, the first thing I thought was, right, okay, I don't know nothing about this. What do I start posting about? And I thought about it and I says, well, what am I trying to do? And at the time, I was trying to attract some investors and things like that. I thought, well, what would an investor be looking at? What sort of things would they be worried about? What's their concerns? It's like, well, they'll be thinking if they're going to invest with me, they want to make sure I'm trustworthy, I'm honest, transparent, and all these sort of things. So I started to post about these sort of things. And I've got a couple of wee rules in business. I take new staff on. Not so much now because I'm not heavily involved in the pub business now. I've got, they're sort of managed now with good people in the pubs. So my involvement in that's very minimal. I'm on a couple of WhatsApp groups that I'll drop in and message, and I'm maybe one day a Monday normally in the pubs where I'll collect the paperwork and take it away and sort out all that stuff for the accountant, the money and stuff like that. I do that on a Monday, but I always say first rule is don't steal from me. If you need anything, ask me, and if I can help, I'll help you because I've helped out many.
Yeah.
And the next thing, which is so much more important than the first rule, so listen to me when I'm saying it, don't ever lie to me. If you fuck up, tell me the truth. I can deal with that. You know, when somebody lies to you, you lose trust. When you find out they've lied, you lose trust.
Yep.
And if you lose trust in somebody, that's it, it's gone.
Yeah.
You know, they've got to go. If you can't trust somebody, then it's game over, in my opinion. You know, so I always say to them, don't lie to me. So that's the sort of things that I was posting on social media. I posted a post about that, what I've just said. These are my 2 rules. I posted about being transparent. You know, we had projects in the go like that before I started sourcing for anybody. What I'd done was I'd done a couple of projects myself, just so that I knew that if I'm spending my money, because I wanted to make sure I got it right with my money before I took anybody else's.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And so I done the projects and we sort of posted about them. We got good results. We attracted folk. We had some really, really good deals and stuff like that as well that we got. And then after the back of that, I spoke at a Jumpstart event as well. Paul had asked me to speak at a Jumpstart event. And I said, right, okay, I'll go and do it. And the only reason I done it is because I was there before, sitting in the audience, and I thought, what they're all thinking, I was thinking, you know, this is a fucking con. And so I went up and I spoke about that and just said, look, it's fucking real. If you do what you're meant to do, if you follow the process, it can happen for you, but just follow it and take your time. After the back of that, I met another guy, Connor, and his missus, and we ended up doing a massive big flip that was in the national press. It was an assisted sale, actually. House lay empty for like 12 years or something. So we everybody tried to get us. Absolutely everybody tried to get us.
Right.
And the reason that we got it over everybody else is it was a hoarder's house. The stuff was for the floor to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And everybody was going in and trying to lowball the guy. We went in with a total different attitude. It's like, listen, you know, this is, obviously there's a lot of stuff here. We can't take it all, but you know, what's the things that are really important to you? And we'll put it in storage because we understand that this is your stuff because he's emotionally attached to this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we let's do that. We gave him a fair price. We gave him $100,000 for the property. Everybody's offering him 40. And then we spent $100,000 renovating it. We sold it for 260, and it was in all the papers, all the newspapers and stuff like that. It was a good deal for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, but that was off the back of just sharing that things work if you work, you know.
Yeah.
I always say it like it's not a law what is it, law of attraction.
Law of attraction, yeah.
It's the law of action, you know, because if you're sitting here fucking manifesting a big pink elephant, it's not going to happen, you know. You need to go to the zoo and fucking paint the thing yourself, you know. So you need to take the action.
Yeah, I think what you just said there as well is really important, because you know, you've said there is a lot of people in property. Let's be honest, regardless of what industry you're in, there's always good eggs and bad eggs, right?
100%.
And unfortunately, the bad eggs spoil it for the good eggs, right? But you just said there's been people in there and lowballed this guy, etc. That's the bad eggs, right?
Am I being experienced?
Yes, yeah, you're right. But yeah, you're right. Potentially,
Their intentions might be all right, but they may be inexperienced.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. But I think for the good eggs, the phrase you just said, it was a good deal for everybody. Then the deal is, you know, I say some people look at us and go, oh, they're just going in, they lowball properties, you steal it off people. No, that's not the truth. Everything that we'll do, if you're one of the good eggs, it turns out it's a good deal for everybody. That guy couldn't sell his house. He's a hoarder, right? Who was going to buy it? He's got what he wanted, and you got what you wanted.
He was going to lose it.
It's a good deal for everybody.
It's because you put the guy first as
compulsory
well.
purchase on it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It took us a year to fucking get into the bastard thing, and then it took us a year to get it over the line. Do you know what I mean? Like, but we still done it, and it was decent.
Yeah.
You know, the money was good. It was a brilliant project. It had its challenges. We get through them. But the actual the relationship with the guy, like everybody, he's this, he's that. We found the guy to be all right. He was brand new.
Yeah.
Like sometimes he just needed an ear.
Yeah.
You know, we just done a deal there in Edinburgh as well, and the guy that owned the property threatened to shoot the guy that I was co-sourcing the deal with. Honestly, absolute fucking screwball. But he threatened to shoot him because things were taking a wee bit longer than they'd first expected and stuff. And like we had to manage him throughout the whole process. At the end up, he was fucking brilliant, brand new. So he was really, really nice at the end. But so people go through different stages and stuff like that. And I think it's important to just understand it's just people. It's just people helping people.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it is. And I think when you're no a high street branded estate agent, and you're working on the sort of grey areas off market, people can think, is this a con? Is this? But you know, I always try to go in and just make them feel at ease for the very moment that you go in and just like I remember I'd done a deal and it was taking longer than it should have done, and the woman was needing the money, and it was just a source deal. It wasn't like I was making $3,000 off this, right? So it wasn't a massive amount of money. But I loaned the seller $5,000.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like out of my own pocket.
Yeah.
She needed to pay money for her wedding deposit, so I gave her $2,500, and then it dragged on a wee bit longer. I gave her another $2,500, and see when that property sold, fucking straight money came back like that because of the relationship we'd built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was important. And then she'll still text me. Text me to this day, and like other people that we've done deals with, they're the same. Like still speak to them. You know, it's not as if it's like transactional, day this deal and then it's done.
Yeah.
Like I've got a guy, we bought a property in Cumbernauld, and the guy's a big Celtic fan. So every time he knows that Celtic's playing at home, because I've got a pub at Parkhead, and that's the only day I'll work in the pub, is like when it's match days.
Right.
He'll text me. He texts me stuff about Rangers and all that, and just all the sort of Celtic stuff, you know. And he's still doing that to this day. And it was like years ago we bought that property, you know.
Aye.
So it's just having that relationship.
It's a relationship, absolutely. And if you're putting that person first, then and they understand and they can feel it, it all helps, doesn't it?
I think it's as well. That's a reason as to why you would deal with guys like yourself, because you mentioned about the high street, the corporates. You're trying to tell me a high street agent would have lent this person $5,000?
Never in a million years, man.
Never. No.
Aye. Never in a million years.
Because they use the word transactional. It's just a transaction to these people, whereas for us there is a wee bit more emotion involved in it.
Aye. I've I done a deal years ago in Greenock, and to be honest, that deal, like there was other guys involved in the property that had been to see that house, and there was a couple of boys at the time, a couple of young guys. They were trying to sell the deal through the Facebook community and stuff like that. And it was funny because there was another guy involved, and I met him just a couple of months ago, and we were chatting about it, and I says, that deal set me up for life, like just off the back of that deal. And he's like, it was a good deal, and he already had agreed a price as well. I had agreed a price that was less than what they two guys had agreed, and I also had the keys to the house in my back bin. And these guys are trying to sell it, and I'm like, I've got the fucking keys. Like, man, these aren't getting it. And I sold the deal to a guy, another sourcer, and I met an estate agent and letting agent off the back of that because he was going to manage it, and I was to drop keys off, and it was another pain in the arse, you know, like Ian was, and it was just constant fucking phone and text, and I'm like, fucking just keys, I'll get you. I'm not running away with the keys. Do you know what I mean? Like, And I went to meet him, and we had a property. It was on the market in Paisley, and it was sticking, wasn't selling. And we were using this wee independent estate agent who probably wasn't driving it as much as he should have been. He was quite lazy. And I met the guy, and he says, "Well, show us it. Where is it?" And he pulled it up, and he's like, "This is what I would do." I says, "Right, okay, well, where are the fucking keys? Go and do it." So we took the listing off that guy, and we gave it to him, and he sold it for us. So I fed him first. So then what he had to do is he had to bring me something back. So brought me something back, and wait a minute, this works. This is good.
Yeah.
So we built this relationship, and he very, very down to earth. Like the connections unreal. Like we're really, really close now. And he's had some challenges in his business life and stuff like that as well. And he introduced me to another guy who's got another letting agency who's very, very close as well. And through these two guys, like I pretty much do most of my business through them.
Right.
You know, like I give them stuff, they give me stuff.
Right.
And you see, you don't need to have big, massive circle.
Yeah.
I've got that small circle, and we're busy. Like we're knocking out. We although we've got a property business, what we used to do was outsource a lot of stuff.
Right.
Like the refurbs and that, but we started bringing that more in-house. The tail end of last year, more into this year, it was a bit more professional.
Right.
So we've set up our own wee sort of team of guys that are working for us directly now.
Right.
And they're doing all the refurbs. So we're knocking out 2 a month at the moment,
Right.
you know, like
Wow.
usually 2 refurbs a month, every month.
Yeah.
And we've got about an R18 sort of sitting on the board, waiting to be coming on board, like different stages.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like in the purchase process and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And they're all over. Like we've got properties all over that we're doing and stuff like that, as well as the flip sort of stuff and things like that I do. You know, so
Sounds like you've got a lot to go then.
we're fucking run ragged,
You're
man.
busy.
but it's good. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's earning, everybody's happy, everybody's enjoying it. So, long
No
may it
stress.
continue, you know.
Great stuff.
Well, listen, I've definitely learned a lot from you. And I think what most of the listeners will feel as well is your honest, raw, no bullshit approach, which I think most people can definitely resonate with. So I think regardless, anybody listening to this episode, regardless if you're in property, the pub game or not, they'll definitely take a lot from you. So I appreciate your time, mate, and
Thanks,
appreciate you
Barry.
coming on with us,
Thanks
mate.
for
That's me off your case now.
inviting me.
Aye.